do I play when everything is boring? It don't keep my attention. What do I play when everything is boring? It's boring. I fired up a game of Warzone. It didn't go well. There were people driving flying cars, and I got shit on. It isn't even just the cheats though. I seem to have lost my aim though. I try to play at least an hour a day, but what do I play when everything is boring? It don't keep my attention. What do I play when everything is boring? It's boring.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you like that intro there. Today I wanted to talk about how our favourite multiplayer games keep us coming back for more, and how they keep our attention when they run on a formula which basically means they're never really completed, like a single player game would be. The current trends of battle royales are a really good example of this because they rely solely on you wanting to come back time and time again to repeat the process to try and get those elusive dubs, and it gives you the warm and fuzzies when you do achieve them. Let's get into it. What I intend to do with this video is to highlight what it is that us, the players, want from our games and what stops them being left to gather dust in our Steam libraries. Let's start with the obvious, the core game idea. First of all, a game has to appeal to you, whether from a visual graphical standpoint or some sort of core gameplay mechanic that is satisfyingly challenging to pull off but dopamine rewarding when you do. For example, people are often torn about Fortnite's visual style. Some people absolutely love it, and others just tolerate it because the building mechanic is so extremely skill-based, and a lot of satisfaction can be had from winning epic build fights and landing those sneaky shotgun blasts when you create a brief opening through tactical edits, or just by confusing the other player into thinking you went one way, but actually you're all up in his shit and he's about to receive your boomstick. And then you have Apex, which again doesn't go for the hyper-realistic visual approach, but rather has its own style, which is somewhere between cartoony and sci-fi. The movement mechanics and the fact that it's a hero-based game with individual character abilities pushes the skill ceiling, having to take into account which hero or legend your enemy is using, as to expect the kind of tactics they're likely to use and how they will go about a gunfight. It's not just simply gun versus gun. This, provided it has sucked you in, can create hours upon hours of enjoyment, learning it all and how to go about your fights to ensure you come out on top. And then there's Warzone, which although visually it leans towards realism, there's enough arcade-style mechanics to hook in casual players and keep their attention, as well as unique ideas that you can only find in Call of Duty Warzone, such as loadouts, etc. So now we have the basic bare bones of the three games mentioned here, and of course there are lots of other battle royales offering their own spin on the formula. Bloodhunt, for example, my absolute favourite of the lot, has the verticality of the map, the ability to scale any wall and leap through the sky without fear of full damage, not to mention the blood resonance and masquerade mechanics, which create a whole new concept of gameplay, but we will have more Bloodhunt content in the future, don't you worry. The next thing to keep our attention is the idea of progression. Most games in this genre now have the Battle Pass idea, which lets us level up by playing matches to unlock skins to make ourselves look as unique and our own as possible. This idea is a great way to make repeatedly playing matches over and over again have some sort of constant chain of satisfaction. Whether it's trying to raise our kill-death ratio or grinding to unlock weapon camos or character skins, we need to feel that we're working towards something. Not just winning matches, but our overall accounts are being tracked and we can see progression, or highlight where we're going a little wrong and it maybe allows us to then work towards correcting it. Oh, but I do kind of miss the days where skins were unlocked by in-game challenges. I sound like a dinosaur saying that, but these days it's the most basic way for these free-to-play models to actually make a return on their game-making efforts. I fully understand that, and it's why, if I like a game and it's free-to-play, I will at the very least buy their Battle Pass, because like I've mentioned, it does me a favour having something to work towards, and it gives the devs something back for their hard work. There is, however, something a little bit predatory about the high prices for bundles of in-game currency, which I believe for people who are impulsive or lack the ability to resist things of a gambling nature, loot boxes or offering in-game currency for upwards of $100 sometimes, it's just a little concerning. I know it's a choice when people put their money down for these things, but sometimes it's not as cut and dry as that. And there are plenty of stories about gaming addictions and people spending thousands on games like FIFA, which is way more than the game itself is worth, and all of the colours and flashing lights give someone with gambling addiction that same same sort of feeling of being at the slot machines or the fruities at the local pub or gambling lounge. Anyway, back on track. So we've mentioned the initial interest in the game, we have progression being tracked and battle passes. Now I wanted to mention something which I've loved about competitive video games since I got into fighting games way back in yesteryear. When a game releases and everyone's learning it on an equal playing field, no meta has been established. It's all new and everyone's just trying to figure out the best, most optimal ways to play and win. You have mechanics which seem to be understood on the surface start to be used unconventionally to obtain an advantage by players. I'm not talking about cheap exploits, but rather things that become the staple for players to have to learn to keep up with the ever-shifting meta. I remember a recent example when Dragon Ball FighterZ released by Arc System Works, amazing game by the way. The air combos were extremely basic, and a small tutorial taught you how to do them, but people coming from other ArcSys games such as BlazBlue or Guilty Gear were a little disappointed by a Dragon Ball Z fighting game made by arguably the best anime fighting studio in the world, had lacking airtime considering everyone in the Dragon Ball roster could fly. But then players discovered how to extend their air combos. Jump cancels timed with the 2B launcher, among other character-specific moves, allowed players to keep their combos going in spectacular fashion. It was such a joy, and it's unsure if it was intended by the devs, as even gameplay put out by them in the trailers had nowhere near that sort of high-level gameplay. But anyway, back to shooters. The slide cancel mechanic in Warzone is yet another example. This mechanic is clearly not intentional from the devs, as you can tell by it breaking your ability to look down afterwards sometimes, but it allows you to replenish your tactical sprint each time you successfully pull it off, making you run at maximum speed at all times while you rotate or reposition yourself in gunfights. It's something you absolutely have to learn when you jump into the game and you want to improve, and it also keeps your hands busy by pressing buttons all the time. I mean, let's face it, how boring is just running in games these days? It's its own kind of sort of mini game while you're playing, and it's extremely addictive. I can't imagine the game without it, to be honest. Apex has something similar with its own slide. It's very momentum based and has its own cooldown, which you have to learn the feel of. Fortnite have added their own slide mechanic, which makes rotating on foot all the more enjoyable. To slide really fast down hills, or even get some cool moments where you knock players whilst in full speed slide. But with all this being said, I just can't help at the moment by feeling a little lost right now about what I want to play and grind out. There really isn't anything that I'm completely hooked on right now, and I just keep switching between games. I cannot wait for Bloodhunt to come back and see how polished it's going to be on release. It's just extremely exciting for me. I think about it every day. Also, the God of War video is still ongoing. I haven't finished it, although I feel it is coming to an end story-wise. One of the best games I've played on the PC, I have to say, but I will save all of that for the video. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. I didn't want to make this video too long because people's attention is fleeting these days, but what brings you back to your favourite game time and time again? Have I missed something crucial in this video? I hope you're all well and happy, and I will see you again very, very soon. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.